Senator Paterson.
Thank you, Mr President. My question is for the Minister for Employment, Senator Cash. Is the minister aware of any recent court decisions relating to unlawful conduct in the building and construction industry?
Order. On my left. On my left. The Minister for Employment, Senator Cash.
Well, thank you, Mr President. And unfortunately, yes, I am. I can inform the Senate that the federal court has today imposed fines on the CFMEU and 10 of its officials, including the notorious Luke Collier, Darren Greenfield and Brian Parker, in excess of $2.4 million for repeated and egregious breaches of workplace laws on the Barangaroo site in Sydney. The comments made by Justice Flick in his decision are damning, Mr President, and include the following. The CFMEU has long demonstrated by its conduct that it pays but little regard to compliance with the law and indeed has repeatedly sought to place itself above the law. The CFMEU is to be regarded as a recidivist offender. It is difficult, if not impossible, to envisage any worse conduct than that pursued by the CFMEU. The CFMEU assumes a prominent role in the industrial affairs of this country and has consistently exhibited contempt for the law. The conduct of its officers and employees has consistently shown a total contempt for the rights of occupiers and a total contempt for the constraints imposed by the law. It goes on and on and on for pages and pages and pages. The conduct for which the CFMEU assumes liability, which is now approximately $2.4 million in the present proceedings, shows a further and serious contempt for the law. And what do we have from those on the other side, colleagues? Laughter. Absolute laughter. This is the most militant union in the country, which now has tens of millions of dollars in fines against it, and those on the other side can do nothing more than laugh.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Paterson, supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Can the minister provide further details of any of the individuals involved in today's court judgment?
Minister.
Well, thank you, Mr President. Yes, I can. One of the CFMEU officials who was fined $40,400 for his conduct was, of course, Mr Luke Collier. But Mr Luke Collier, it'll come as no surprise to this chamber, a CFMEU official is a career criminal, colleagues, who has broken the law on multiple occasions. He has served jail time for assault. He has engaged in violence against women, including assaulting his former girlfriend. He has used some of the most foul and abusive language against female inspectors, including "you effing dog," "you effing grub," "you're lower than a pedophile," "you effing grub," "you effing slut." And guess what? Those on the other side, and Senator Doug Cameron, mate, you in particular, stand up and defend Mr Collier. They defend this disgusting behaviour. Why? Because he's a mate, and that's the only reason they're in this place.
Minister, thank you, Minister. Senate, order. Order. Order on my left. Senator Paterson, final supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr President. Were the actions of any other individuals discussed in today's judgment?
Minister.
Well, they were, but normally Senator Cameron jumps up at this point and says, "I've never defended Luke Collier." So for the benefit of the Senate, go to Senate estimates 2014. Senator Cameron asked 61 questions defending Luke Collier for losing his right of entry permit. That's what those on the other side do. They stand up and they defend criminals. Why? Because criminals put them in this place. They take tens of millions of dollars, the Australian Labor Party, from the most militant union in this country. So instead of standing up and saying, in relation to the $2.4 million fines today, and in particular the individual fines against 10 CFMEU officials, have the guts to stand up and demand their resignations, because until you do, you are voiceless in this chamber.
Thank you, Minister.